अनपेक्षः शुचिर्दक्षः उदासीनो गतव्यथः सर्वारम्भ परित्यागी यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः.
Another set of beautiful qualities he gives. Anapekshaha, free from want, one who is independent. Shuchihi, this is one quality that we need to meditate on day in and day out. Purity, cleanliness. Dakshaha, competent, expert, skillful. Udasinaha, udasina, uninvolved. Gatavyathaha, unperturbed. Sarvarambha parityagi, renouncing all undertakings, never having the feeling that I have started anything, that I have the copyright to anything. Such a one, my devotee, is dear to me. You know, you can actually feel the love in the constantly, every verse he says that such a person is, and the last verse he says, Ativa me priya, is extremely dear to me. So whether you love God or not, he is one-sidedly declaring love for you. Quality number 16, anapekshaha, free from wants. This is the negative side of it. Earlier he has said santushta satatam, that's the positive side. So when he says free from want, what does he mean? Plato has said that poverty lies not in the decrease of one's wealth, but in the increase of one's subjective wants. So which brings us to the definition of richness. All of us want to be rich. But first you must understand what is richness. The normal understanding of a rich person is what? A person who has a great deal of wealth, income, assets. But that's just half the story, according to Vedanta, according to the Gita. A person who has a high level of income or assets is not necessarily rich. You are rich only if your income exceeds your desires. You get that? Whatever your take-home package is every month, your desires must be well within that. But if your desires outstrip your resources, irrespective of how high your resources are, you're a poor person. So all of us are in deficit financing, right? Only a person who is content with what he has will be free from want. Now how do you get free from want? That's the question, that's the fundamental question. Again, we are talking of free from internal want. We are not talking of increasing your resources. We are not talking about not having things of the world. In fact, spiritual development, only a person who is spiritually evolved, which means only a person who is free from want has the capacity to gain objects of the world. So let's say you are at 30% development. At 30% development, your mental faculties are so low that you can only afford 30% of the world, which is you can only afford a one-bedroom apartment somewhere far off. You can only afford a two-wheeler. You can only afford a, I don't know, whatever, black and white television set, and so on and so forth. But your desires are for 5-bedroom penthouse apartment, a Toyota Camry, what else? All kinds of facilities and gadgets. But you can afford only so much, and what you need to be comfortable is up there. The difference, the deficit puts you in hell. Mentally you are agitated. So what Vedanta does, what the Bhagavad Gita does, is it helps us in two ways. Number one, it gives you the prescription of right action, how to act in the world so that you can gain more resources of the world. So that from 1-bedroom house, you can straight away jump to 3-bedroom house. And most importantly, it helps you go up the spiritual ladder so that you become free from want. Meaning, as you go up the spiritual ladder, you are happy with less and less. But you have more. So in other words, you are quite content to run around in a two-wheeler, you are quite content to be in the, metro, commute to work by metro, you are quite content with a modest home and all the rest of it. But you, because your level has increased, spiritual level has increased, effortlessly you are able to command the resources of the world, and therefore you live in a 5-bedroom apartment, you have 3 cars at your disposal, drivers, servants, this, that and the other. So the excess you have over and above what you need puts you in heaven. You must always live life in such a way that you have surplus. And that surplus, don't go splurging and buying things for yourself. That surplus you invest back in society, give back to society. That is the way to live life. The way we are living is absolutely crazy. So, anapekshaha is the way to go. So, how do you get there is the question. How you get there, how not to want, is number 1, you must be convinced that the world and the objects of the world cannot add to your happiness. In other words, when you buy a slightly bigger TV set, you buy a bigger car, you gain a bigger home, you get one more car, you get, I don't know, whatever else you want. It doesn't add to your happiness. Happiness is a state of mind. And the way to gain happiness is a totally different thing. Mind you, the Gita does not say don't gain objects of the world. Gain the objects of the world with the understanding that your happiness will not increase. Number 2, even if you want whatever it is that you want, focus on deserving. Because remember one thing, you get what you deserve in life. You don't get what you desire. And the only way of deserving is fix a higher ideal. Work in a spirit of service and sacrifice. Only then you'll get it. 3rd, surrender. What we mean by surrender is to understand that, as they said in a poem called The Olive Tree, he who made knew what it needed better than a man like me. Whoever made the universe, whoever made me, whoever made you, knows what we need and provides that. So there's no reason for you to sit there and desire things of the world. Next, gratitude. You must acknowledge the things, the hundreds and thousands of blessings that you already have, and be grateful for that. Then you will not want more. And most importantly, your attention should shift to a larger cause. And when your attention shifts to a larger cause, the desire is focused there. Your attention is not on your personal desires, your wants decrease. Next, quality number 17 is shuchihi, pure. Purity, cleanliness is both internal and external. See, in the final analysis, the only thing that is pure is what? Atman, correct. Atman is the only pure entity. Even science says that no element in the world is pure. Very difficult to get beyond a certain point. If you want purity, it gets almost impossible. So the only element, the only thing in the world that is pure is Atman. A Bhakta is totally focused on getting to Atman. And the impurity in our system is the vasanas, desire, ignorance. So he's focused on removing the vasanas. Now in order to remove the vasanas, you must have a clean, neat, organized, tidy, uncluttered environment, external environment. Your body must be clean. The mind must entertain pure emotions. The thoughts in your intellect must be sharp, clear, unmuddled, unconfused. Only then will you get to Atman. Now you take a look at us. our external environment is totally unclean. Once you go outside the country and see what life in the rest of the, particularly the Western world is like, how they manage to keep things clean. You go to a shopping mall, it's clean. You go on the highways, it's clean. You go to an airport, it's clean. You go to use public toilets, it's clean. You come here to India, nothing is clean. You go to people's homes also, the kitchens and bathrooms are... You want to find out the spiritual status of a person. Somebody invites you to their homes. First enter the kitchen and the bathroom, then you know what their status is. Because in our homes, the living room is fine. Very clean, neat, tidy. You go beyond that, all the filth comes up. Cleanliness, neatness. This doesn't mean you have a fetish for it. The other extreme is obsession with cleanliness. No, you are clean only because you want to get to that state of purity, sattva, the state of self-realization. And in order to get there, you have to be clean. It has to be uncluttered. Your life has to be uncomplicated. But the way we manage to complicate and clutter our lives is incredible. And then the stress builds up. The stress builds up because you've just complicated your life. So the first thing you need to do is bring your intellect into place and remove all the unnecessary things from your life. You know, I have seen, right here in Delhi, I walked into the chairman's office, spotlessly clean, not one paper out of place. In fact, there is not a paper to be seen in the office. Sometimes you wonder, does he work or does he not work? That kind of organized working. And other places, you know, the less efficient people are, and you see papers flying all over their offices. Cleanliness, tidiness, the promptness must be there. So this is Shuchihi. And then comes Daksha. Daksha is one who is competent, expert, smart, skillful, alert, vigilant, clever, can do any job well. You entrust any job to him, you can rest assured the job will be done. That kind of reputation you must cultivate. So in the second chapter of the Gita, he says, Yogaha karmasu kaushalam. Yoga is dexterity of action. Now this morning there was a journalist who was talking to me. Her concept of spirituality is a person who is completely useless in the world. He can't get a job, nobody will marry him, and doesn't have any educational qualifications. Such a fellow who is useless for anything in the world, put him in an ashram, give him spirituality. That's not the concept. Here he says, Daksha, he's talking about a Bhakta and he's saying the Bhakta must be Daksha. See, the simple logic is, a fellow who is useless for the world, how can he be good for God? That is why all crazy people turn to spirituality. It's completely wrong. It's only a successful person. That's why throughout the Gita, Krishna addresses Arjuna as Dhananjaya. Only when you are successful at gaining the world will you be successful in spirituality. That's the point. But along with this capacity of Daksha, the next quality is fascinating how he combines the two qualities. Udasina, uninvolved. You gain the best, you put in your best effort, you work and act as if your life depends on it, but internally you're totally uninvolved. So if you are udasina, that is uninvolved, but you're not expert, you're not daksha, that is a tamasic state, that's a horrible state to be in. That's not what we're talking about. Second, if you're daksha, you're expert, smart, skillful and all the rest of it, but you're totally involved, totally attached and stressed out over it, that again is not what we're talking about. That is a rajasic state. That's what you see businessmen all over the place. The state that he's talking about is a wonderful combination of daksha and udasina, means You perform perfect actions. You put your heart and soul in every action that you perform and which turns out perfect. But you understand within yourself that you have no value for the action. You have no value for the fruit of the action because you are involved with the higher. You're involved with getting to God. You're not involved with any of this. That's a wonderful state to be in. So per se, the action has no value. But it has value because it helps you to reach Atman. Therefore, you have a sanctity for all actions. Next, Gatavyataha, untroubled, no agitations, no worries or anxieties. What causes trouble? What troubles you? See, if you don't know what troubles you, how will you be untroubled? What troubles you? World troubles you? Desire, correct. Remember one thing, you are a human being, and as a human being you have the outstanding ability that nothing, absolutely nothing in the world can trouble you except yourself. Only you can trouble yourself, and you're doing a pretty good job of it. So the desire is within. And if you want to be free from trouble, you've got to be free from desire. A bhakta is free from desire because he has desire only for God. So to that extent, nothing in the world bothers him. Sant Tukaram was like that. All the great saints and sages were like that. So whatever it is that he had, they took away from him, he had nothing bothered him. God looked after him. He totally. So that's the thing. There is a bhakta is free from desire because he has a desire for the higher. Therefore, you need to cultivate higher desires. Don't worry about what next fashion is coming. Now this, what is it? Fashion? Fashion week has started here. So people get worried and now. Next, I don't know what will come, whether the length of the kurta will go up or down, whether the sleeve will go up to the ankles or down to the wrist or up. Don't worry about all that. Worry about higher things. Worry about what kind of emotions you have. Worry about removing conflict from your relationships. In other words, move from the physical to the emotional. Instantly, you'll be freed from the physical. And ultimately, that's what matters. Nobody looks at what clothes. Only stupid people look at what clothes you wear. A genuine person, a sensible person will not look at your clothes. Will look beyond that to what kind of emotions you have. What kind of thoughts are you entertaining? Are you an intelligent person or an unintelligent person? So the next stage, move to the intellect. A bhakta is one who has moved beyond body, mind and intellect to Atman, and therefore he has no desire for anything. Gatavyataha. See, each one of these qualities is worth its weight in gold. You must think about it. Try and cultivate it. Find out where you are. How troubled are you? How do you get over this trouble? Quality number 21 is Sarvarambha Parityagi. Renouncing all endeavors. Renouncing